In this video, I'll introduce the new Beas Analytical Insights, a set of dashboards for Beas manufacturing using the Boyum app dashboards functionality.
The Production Planning Overview is a dashboard that gives you a series of analyses over the production planned to be executed and the production already executed. This dashboard is composed of 3 tabs. Summarize Scheduling, that will give you an overview of all the items you have in production as open work orders or items that you have already produced. Then we have the Detail Scheduling. Detail Scheduling will only show the data of open production, detailing all the tasks that needs to be executed in each one of the work orders, and also giving you the possibility of understanding if you have or not enough stock and resources available to produce the different production tasks that you have open. And finally, we have the Execution Overview tab that will only look at the works that you have already completed and will provide a series of KPIs for you to understand how you are performing in relation to your plan. On the Summarize Scheduling tab, we have here a list that will present all the open work orders and also the closed work orders with a detailed status for you to understand, for example, if on the open ones they are overdue or they are planned, and on the closed ones, if they were finished in advance, finished on schedule, finished overdue, and all of that you can see in a summarized way here on this chart. So this chart will summarize the information you see on the list, and you'll say how much orders you finished overdue, on schedule, on advance, how much you still have planned, and how much you have open overdue at this moment. Apart from that, we can see more information like what's the work order number and its priority, the items, the planned date to start the production, and planned end date for production. This comes from the order scheduling. So if you're using APS, this information will reflect the scheduling done on APS. Effective start and effective end, considering the time received registered for the work order. A column in which you can see the quantity that you have confirmed in relation to the planned one, with a bar that will fill up for you to visually understand how you are completing the orders, and a column here for the delivery date. The delivery date will always be highlighted in red if it was not accomplished. So if you see an open work order and we are already past the delivery date, or if the planned date to finish the production is past the delivery date will be highlighted in red for you to know that you might have problems on that work orders for certain customers or even for certain forecasts. In the case of finished production, closed production, it will also be highlighted in red when you finish it past the delivery date. And as a result of this comparison in between the dates you finished and the date we're supposed to deliver, or even in between our production planning and the delivery date, you're going to have a KPI here to tell you how much orders you delivered on time considering the total orders that you had. Here I see a global KPI for the production delivered on time, but we also have the possibility to have this per customer, because here on the left side, we have a customer list or even a project list. If you make production to customers and you want to know how you are performing for each one of your customers, you can just click here, click on the customer you want to analyze. Here you can also graphically understand if you have open orders delayed for that customer. If I have an open value and this cell is not highlighted in red, then this means that the open work order is not delayed. But when I have open work orders and the cells are red, this means that there are some delays in certain work orders for this customer. When I click on the customer, the data here will update to filter only the work orders related to this customer. And I can see here what I have open and what I have closed. And the delivery dates will be in red if they are already passed or if the scheduling is past the delivery date. Here the KPI will update to display the data related specifically to this customer. So in this case, 79% of all the orders I had for this customer I delivered on time. And I can see this for each one of the customer. If I am a project manufacturer and I want to understand from all the orders I had in a project how much I finished on time, I can also click on the projects and see that this will update for the projects as well. Now, this report, apart from analyzing the work I did, also presents me the work that I have open. And if I want to very quickly see what I have planned to be worked on today, I can use the quick filters and select what I have for today. Each one of the options on the quick filters will go building over the previous one. So if I want to see today, I click on today. But for me to see today and tomorrow, I have to select both today and tomorrow, and the first three options if I want to see all the planning for this week. And this and the next week, I have to select then the first four options, and for seeing the whole current month, I have to select the first 5 options. But I can quickly select here and filter the orders that I have open for the different periods of time. Now, if we go on to the Detailed Scheduling tab, we can see a list of all the tasks that we have open to do in production. Remember that on the Detailed Scheduling, we don't see anything related to closed work orders, only operations that we have open at this moment. And we have some quick status here that will tell us, for example, if this operation is scheduled to be done today, or if it is for today but already overdue. So based on the time that we are now and on the time planned for the operation, this is an already overdue task. Or if they are planned for tomorrow, or even if they are overdue from past days, or if they are planned for the future, what we can see here in gray. If you want to filter, you can also use the header of this grid to filter as well. I can just click here and select, for example, all the operations that are overdue for today and see them here on the list. Now, if I want to see everything, I can just click here and clear the filter. Each one of the grids, even the previous ones, can also be filtered by clicking on the header. This grid will present us the tasks that we have to do, the planned start and end dates. Again, this can come from the APS scheduling when you use APS. A detail of the work order number, position, and operation, and 2 columns that will tell us our capability for performing that task at this moment. The first one of them is stock. As you can see here, we have an analysis of stock requirements and availabilities on the bottom of the report. This will tell us how much we have on stock and how much you require for the different production tasks that we have open. And we will highlight all the components that we are missing on stock. But this is not only a general analysis, as this can help me to understand what I am missing for each one of the operations that I have open. For example, I can see that the stock indicator is red for this specific task. If I click on it, the stock requirements will update to show me only what I am missing for this particular task for production. And if I want, I can select 2 of them by holding Shift, for example, and then have a consolidated analysis for that 2 tasks. Then I can also clear the filter and I can open up this grid to see all the components that I am missing and all the components that I have in stock at this moment. Then after the stock, we have the resource analysis. The resource can have up to 4 different indicators. If we have just a green icon with a blank or gray background, this means that the machine is available at this moment for performing this task. If this is yellow, this means that at this time, the machine is busy performing another work order. And if we see it with a green icon and a green background, this indicates to us that at this moment, this operation is being worked on at this resource. And we are also going to see this green light here that indicates that this order is in work. On the summarize scheduling, we also have the same green icon to indicate that that work order is in work at this moment. If we want to see details from one particular work order coming from the summarize scheduling, we can also filter from here. So I want to know for this specific work order, which operation is being worked on now. I can just click on it and see the details here on the detailed scheduling. So those first 2 tabs can work together. What I filter here is also detailed here on the detailed scheduling as well. If I take out the filter, I can see everything on the detailed scheduling again. And I will also see in red the resources that are interrupted and a list of all the tasks that are affected by this interruption. This is also very dynamic, meaning that I can combine different filters to see the details here on this list. If I want to know which operations I can work at this moment, I can just select the ones for which I have stock and the ones for which I have resource available. And I will see here a list of all the operations for which the machines are free and I have enough stock to produce. If I just want to know the materials that I am missing for production, I can just click on insufficient and see here the list of all the materials that are missing at this moment. Or even the orders that are affected by missing stock. So I can see the ones for which the resource is available, but I don't have stock. So this is actually what's hindering my possibility for executing production. Now I'll take those filters out. And here I also have filters for customers. If I want to know all the planning for specific work orders I have open for a certain customer, I can just select the customer and see them here. And even for projects. So here I can also click on a project to see what I have pending for that project. I can also click on a material to see the different work orders that are related to that particular material. For example, I have an item here that is the GI wire. I want to know which work orders I have open that are pending to be done because I am missing this material. I can click on it. I see that 2 work orders are being affected for this lack of material. And apart from that, this dashboard also allows me to understand in which tasks the shop floor operators are working on at this moment. For example, I can see that this operator is active on production. And if I want to know what are the tasks that this operator is doing, I just need to click here, and then the dashboard will filter exactly the tasks that this operator is working on at this moment. Or if I want to know which tasks are being affected by an interruption for an operator that was working at that moment, I can click on a line that says interrupted for me to have an analysis of the tasks that this employee had to stop because the machine had a problem or have to be stopped for preventive maintenance. And also, this will present me a list of all the employees that are free at this moment. So if a production manager is looking at this report and want to know which employees it could allocate to a certain operation, it's just to look here on the free employees list. The list that you see here on the top for the planned operations to be executed will also display the name of the operator that is working on at this moment at that task. So if I move down, I can see that, for example, this operator started this task at this day and at this time and is working on it at that moment. This also combines the possibility of having this dashboard updated at every 1 minute that we can set here on the dashboard settings. When we set up our dashboard views, we can define here the intervals of time for refreshing the data, can make us to have an almost online data regarding to, for example, stock availabilities and the execution of the production at this moment. So this can be used as a tool to understand how the production is going on the shop floor, which employees are connected to each one of the operations, and can even be transformed into a panel to be used on the shop floor for the employees to have an updated work plan in real time. Here I have the detailed scheduling, and using the function of Boyum app dashboards on a web browser, I could open this in a computer linked to a television on the shop floor and have the employees to see in almost real time with a refresh at every minute what's the state of the work orders at this moment. And as soon as an employee connects to one particular task, the name of the employee working on it will be displayed here. The dashboards that you see on the web can also be used with the same levels of functionalities and interactions that you have inside SAP Business One. So this could also be a cockpit for the production managers to interact in the same way that we have seen before. For example, clicking on the orders that we have stock, selecting enough stock, and selecting the resources that are available, and selecting here also the employee to know the orders that that employee is working on at this moment. So I can just click on the employee. The same filters that we can do on the dashboards inside Business One, we can also do on the dashboards on the web. And here we also have a resource analysis. In the resource analysis, we can see the resources that are working at this moment. And if I want to know which orders are being processed on that resource, we can click on it and see the order here. But also we'll display the resources that are interrupted and the list of orders affected by that interruption, and the resources that are waiting for scheduling. If I want to know the planned orders for this machine, I can click here and see all the planned work to be done on this machine. And also the resources that are free without any scheduling. And we can see here the resources that have at this moment nothing scheduled for them. And the latest tab that we have on the production planning overview dashboard is the execution overview that will give us an analysis over the production that have been completed or is in work at this moment. We can see here operations that are in progress and operations that are completed. Operations that are open and planned will not be displayed in this analysis. Here, we can even filter for days. For example, if you want to know our KPIs for the last 7 days, this month, last month, this year, last 12 months, I can select it here on the time filter. In the detailed scheduling, as you can see, we have no time filters because the detailed scheduling only work with the open tasks from the open work orders. So we don't do any analysis from the past on the detailed schedule. On the execution overview, we are going to see here a series of KPIs linked to how we are executing production. The first one of them will tell us how we are performing in relation to the planned quantities for production. So we are, in global terms, completing 93.5% of the quantities we have planned to produce. And also taking a look on our global indicators, we have an 0% of scraps compared to the total produced quantities. Now, comparing to the planned times, we are only using 8% of the total times we planned for production. And we are executing 92.3% of our operations in time, considering the scheduling that we have planned for the different operations. But now, instead of looking at the global picture, I might want to know how each one of our operators is performing on the shop floor. I can just click on the operator, and the KPIs will update in real time considering the data linked to this operator. Here, if I select another operator, I will have the data updated again considering what that particular operator have done. The same thing I can do for the resources. If I want to know how a specific machine or work center is performing, it's just to click on it and see. This one, for example, has a little bit of scraps compared to the total production quantity. And this one is taking much more time than planned to execute the production. And we can also see for the different items. So if you want to know our productivity indicator for particular products, we can click and see. For example, this one is an item for which the planned times are totally bad dimensionated because I'm taking way much more time than planned to complete the production. And apart from that, we can define some productivity goals for our resources and see how we are performing at this moment. The productivity indicators that you see here on the bottom are not related to the filters that you can see here. If I define a filter, this will only affect the KPIs that you see on the top, not what you see here on the bottom. This indicator will show our current productivity rate compared to productivity goals that we can define on the resources. And we see both an analysis over the hourly goals and the daily goals set on the resource. Inside the resource master data, if I open up this resource here, for example, I can see that I have a field in which I define an hourly production goal. This is one of the standard user-defined fields that we have on Beas. I have activated this here in the configuration wizard under master data, resources, and here the UDF4 I have called hourly production goal. Then on this field, I set how much pieces I estimate to produce per hour on this resource. This is very useful if you have a continuous process line that will be, for example, processing the whole day, and you want to know how you are performing in relation to your daily targets. If we come here on the dashboard, we have here an explanation that the productivity goals are set on UDF4 on the resources, and you can activate it on the configuration wizard that we have just seen. Now, the system will calculate how much you have completed from the time receipts that you create directly on the work orders, for example, using the terminals for shop floor data capture, and we'll compare this amount to the productivity goals you set on the resource. I can see here that I am 1.45K below my goal, so I have actually completed only 50 pieces in production in this hour. I should complete 1,500 pieces. This is why it's telling me that I am way below my goal for the current hour. And it will also project, based on the hourly goal, my daily goal. And the projection of the daily goal considers the calendar set to the resource. So it will come into the resource and check the capacity you have for the resource. If you have days without capacity, this will also be considered because it looks at the current calendar for the resource. So if you have, for example, non-workable days in Saturday and Sunday, it will calculate correctly and discount this amount from your productivity goals. The same thing if you have planned, for example, a partial downtime in the resource. And this will reflect your productivity at this moment.